Hello, in this quick tutorial I will explain the basics of Node-RED, a graphical tool that can be easily used for interacting with the Gaia platform and for doing some interesting experiments. The main window is divided into three main panels. On the left we have the nodes library, in the center the canvas to play with nodes, and on the right a custom sidebar to see information about the selected nodes, and that can be used as a debug console. A Node-RED program is made by nodes and the connection between nodes. Data are described as messages flowing from one node output to the next node input. In this example I will use the Inject node and the debug node. The Inject node will send a message when the button on its left side is pressed, and the debug node will print out the content of the payload of the message. But first let's see what is a message. You can imagine a message as an envelope which contains a letter, that is the payload, but can also carry a lot of other information. To access this information we can use the so-called dot notation. As an example, here you see a message with three fields: the payload, a topic, and an ID. The payload in turn contains two fields, name and age. You can access this data using message.payload.name for accessing the name, or message.payload.age for accessing the age. A field of an object can also contain in turn an object, or a list of primitive data types, as well as a list of objects. Coming back to Node-RED, we have here our Inject node, and here our debug node. The Inject node will send a message containing the current timestamp, that is the number of milliseconds elapsed since 1970, as a payload, when we press this button here. We also have a debug node that writes in our debug window the content of the message payload. So let's try. First of all I connect to nodes, the output of the Inject node to the input of the debug node. I deploy the flow, and then I try. If I press the button, I can see here in the debug window this number, that is the timestamp. Node-RED is smart enough to understand that this is a timestamp, and if we click on the number, it translates it into a human-readable date. We can also configure the debug node to print not only the message payload, but the whole message. We need to deploy again, and then we trigger the event. As you can see here, we have some other information carried by the message and the payload. We can play with the Inject node to send some different payload. For example, I can set the node to send a string, for example, hello Gaia. And I can set also a topic, for example, topic 1. I deploy again, and as you can see here in the message, I have the topic I set and the payload as a string. I can also set up this node to be triggered automatically at regular interval, for example, every 2 seconds. So when I deploy, let's clean up a little bit. When I deploy, this will send this same message every 2 seconds. Let's try. Deploy. These are some very basic information about how to work with Node-RED. For a better understanding of the Node-RED tool, you can read the documentation or find other tutorials on YouTube. In the next tutorial I will go deeper in how to use this tool to communicate with the Gaia platform.